What is going on, Cardano community? I hope you guys are off to a wonderful start of the week so far. As a part of today's video, I want to give you guys a brief update in terms of progress and development of the Cardano ecosystem. So the first thing we're going to talk about is going to be the fact that the DJED and SHEN tokens have now been minted on chain on the Cardano network. Following that, we're going to highlight the WingRiders Stableswap code audit, which has recently passed with flying colors. Coming in at number 3, we're going to be talking about Aneta BTC, which is going to be a wrapped Bitcoin platform, which has just released on the testnet. And then in closing of today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about Finance and their BAR update, as well as some drama that we've seen unfolding within the ADAX team. Now, before we jump into all that good stuff, I do want to just quickly mention that if it's your guys' first time stopping by this channel, I aim to provide you guys in the community with the latest news, tutorials, and reviews for the top builders within the ecosystem. And so if these timely updates favor you, then please make sure to tap that like button. If it's your first time stopping by, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions for me about any of the 5 topics we'll be discussing today, then make sure to leave a comment down below. Now, if you guys are aware, or maybe you're not, I've recently launched my own website as well as my own stake pool in order to contribute to the validation and security of the Cardano network. So if you guys are looking to support this channel, then definitely consider staking with the stake pool ticker DAPP. I really want to thank you guys for all the progress or all the support that I've received over the past few weeks. It really does go a long way. Now that we've got the introduction out of the way, let me share my screen with you guys, and we're just going to jump straight into the first topic for today. Now, I've released a ton of different videos over the course of the last week and a half, just kind of covering all the latest developments about the DJED over collateralized stablecoin, which is officially now minted on the Cardano network. Now, earlier today, I did release a separate video highlighting the economics, the fees, the minting and burning mechanisms, as well as the rewards for the actual token. Now, let me just go ahead and jump over into Cardano Scan. And what we're going to see here is going to be that we now have SHEN Micro USD and DJED Micro USD, both of which are now minted on chain. So if I zoom in just a little bit, let me just make sure you guys can see that there. We can see all 3 of those tokens, and we can see that they both have 32 transactions currently associated with them. Obviously, once the actual token launches, this will shoot to the moon pretty rapidly, or at least that's the hope. But we can see that right now, the team has decided to mint 1 trillion of each of these assets. So I'm not necessarily too sure whether that's too high of a number or too low of a number, given the fact that we haven't actually seen this being interacted with just yet, but it looks like this should be more than enough to cover the ecosystem, at least in the short future. Now, what I've also done is I've actually tracked down one of the addresses that has interacted with this DJED token already. And so what I'm going to be looking up is going to be this particular address listed here. Now, I do want to state for transparency, this is not a wallet that I'm associated with. It does seem to be a pretty large wallet, which is holding not only the DJED token, but it's also holding the SHEN token as well. So I'm going to pull it up here on pool.pm. And as we can see, it's a pretty large wallet holding more than 19 million, of the Cardano tokens. And then we see over 650,000 of the DJED USD tokens, and then with over 8 million of the SHEN reserve coin. Again, if you actually click on that here, you can find the policy ID, the storage type, the total quantity, the last owner, and then when the actual token was minted, which was about 24 hours ago. So these are fresh on the actual network. That is going to wrap it up for today's update on DJED. Now, as the actual protocol launches, which should be sometime tomorrow, given that it is the last day of January, I will release an additional video actually confirming the actual launch of this protocol. The second update that I want to talk about today is going to be a project that I've been following closely as well. And in my last video, I did provide an update on this project too. So this is going to be the WingRiders DEX. If you guys have not heard of WingRiders, they're going to be an AMM style DEX on Cardano. And I believe they were one of the first 5 DEXs to launch on the network. So they've got a pretty good amount of liquidity and a lot of activity on the platform. And in my last update, I highlighted the fact that they actually had this Stableswap feature, which was recently released, as well as their WingRiders DAO. Now let's talk a little bit about both of those things there. So first we're going to talk about stable swaps. Stable swaps will allow for users to swap between two value assets or two assets that have the same exact value. In this case, they're going to be starting off with the USD stablecoin. So any token or any synthetic token that represents a US dollar will be able to be used as a part of this stable swap feature. Some of the key benefits of the stable swaps include low price impacts and low slippage. Now, having said that, I do also want to highlight the fact that the team has recently released their voting DAO or their governance DAO. And so this will allow for the community to finally chip in and have their voices be heard in proposals for the WingRiders DEX. And so in closing of those two items, I want to highlight today's update, which is that the Stableswap code audit has officially passed. Now, this was completed by Certic, who is one of the well-known audit platforms within Cardano, in addition to Twig and Hacken Club. And as it states here, the DAO approved the audit. The result is great. Stableswaps is secure and ready for mainnet launch. Even if the DEX works as designed, to be sure, do your own research on assets you swap for. Now, this team did also leave the link to the official Certic report within this Twitter tweet here. So I'll go ahead and probably leave that as well down in the description below if you guys want to check that out on your own. But what really struck me are two separate things. The first is that out of the total findings, all three of them have been resolved. And so at this point, there are no critical, major, medium, or minor issues, which is extremely good right now. We've got 3 informational items which have been resolved, I assume, by the team very recently. Now, the second thing that surprised me is the fact that the DAO actually got to approve these results. So this team is not playing around. Since the launch of the DAO, we've seen a ton of different proposals coming in on different items that they plan on implementing, with this one being the latest one. So if you guys hold the WingRiders token and you're looking to be a part of the DAO, you want your voice to be heard within the community, then you can head over there. And again, using your WingRiders tokens, you will have governance as a part of the actual direction of this protocol. And so that's going to wrap it up there for the second update. Next, I want to talk about Aneta BTC, which is going to be a platform wrapping and providing Bitcoin on the Ergo and Cardano networks. So as we can see here, we have a tweet from Aneta BTC, and it states here: ahead of Saturday's public testnet, here's our V1 architecture and security assumptions. And so that's going to go over all the technical specifications of the actual testnet itself. But if I scroll up just a little bit, let's see here, we can now see that the AnetaBTC Testnet is now live. Thanks to our community for your support along the way. If you guys want to access the actual app itself, you can head over to app.anetabtc.io. And so here we've got a nice little screenshot of what the actual testnet looks like. And I did take a minute to try to actually get access to this testnet as well, but unfortunately, it does not seem that they have the Cardano portion of this protocol live just yet. So as I mentioned before, this will be functioning on the Ergo blockchain and the Cardano network. Having said that, we can see that the Ergo platform is online right now with the Cardano version currently off. Just quickly reviewing the UI here, and then we're going to move along. On the left-hand side, we've got a bridge feature. We can also quickly see our transactions. They also got a dashboard and a feedback section, as well as some documentation here, all on the left-hand side. And then we've got 2 separate tabs here, one to wrap assets and then another to unwrap the said Bitcoin asset. So from here, you can provide how much Bitcoin you have to wrap. You can then see the bridge fee, the Ergo network fee, and then you can actually see how much of the Bitcoin token you will receive after it's wrapped. And then you can go ahead and actually mint what they call eBTC. If I go to unwrap, we're going to see the same exact thing, except we're going to now see the opposite. So instead of wrapping Bitcoin, you'll still be providing Bitcoin here, but you're going to be providing the eBitcoin that you want to unwrap back over into regular Bitcoin. Now, as we actually get the Cardano version of this testnet coming online, you guys can definitely expect a tutorial from myself, which kind of breaks this down a little bit further. And so jumping back over, we're going to kind of pick things up. We've got 2 more topics I want to discuss. The next is going to be the VyFi update. Now, what I'm going to be sharing with you guys is going to be what they call the BAR. This is going to be a way for members who hold the VyFi token to earn from the protocol fees being generated. So as it states here, VyFi will be offering a feature where users can stake their VyFi to the BAR. and earn a share of fees that are generated across the finance ecosystem. This is a big step forward for the whole chain, as it is the first redistributive mechanism launched on Cardano. Every swap that takes place on a DEX is going to be charged a fee, and our liquidity pools will have a fee of 0.3%, of which 0.2% of that will be given back to liquidity providers, and the remaining 0.1% will be quote unquote served to our bar. Now, when we say served, we're referring to serving fees as VyFi, or the VyFi token, to the bar. In effect, this creates a process where fees are collected to purchase VyFi back from the market and then distribute that VyFi proportionally to all users staked to the bar contract. So this allows you to have your skin in the game, or at least a piece of the protocol, right, in which you'll be earning some of the fees generated by the actual bar. Now, there's another description here about exactly how all of this works, and it is a little bit more technical, and so I probably will not be covering this as a part of today's video, but you guys can probably expect a separate video highlighting the bar and exactly how this works. Now, I have had the pleasure of bringing on Stephen Ward on this channel for an interview in the past. I want to say it's about 2 or 3 months ago, in which we kind of talked about the bar, and he talked about all the different revenue mechanisms that will be coming to the finance platform. Now, in closing of today's video, I've got one last article, or one last topic I want to talk about, and this is going to be a little bit of drama. So unfortunately, we have some skepticism around a builder on Cardano. As we can see from this tweet from Subcritical, and if you guys are not following him already, definitely make sure to go ahead and do so. He does a good job of keeping the community up to date when it comes to DeFi protocols. It states here, breaking news, the ADAX Pro Telegram has been shut down. Now, I can confirm, since this was posted earlier today, that since then the Telegram has been reopened. However, prior messaging history has been deleted. The team has not heard from Davidas since last week, and many have not been paid for almost a month. So that's not really good news, right? You never want to hear that people on the project are not getting paid, especially some of the core team members. That's usually a recipe for disaster. Now, if I scroll down just a little bit, we got an additional update which says Davidas has reopened the Telegram and deleted prior messages. We've then got an additional update from Hugo Pereira, who is actually, if I click on this here, you will see Hugo Pereira is their CMO. So let's see what this actual update says about Hugo. So as it says here from Hugo, I faced Davidas and ended up not getting paid simply for asking too many questions internally and not being happy with the lack of visibility. In closing, Hugo seems to be a very well-known and liked person within the community. So hopefully this is credible, but if it is, it's not really a good sign for the ADAX Pro team. Now, I know that this team did have a launch on the Mainnet about a year ago. That's actually when I kind of jumped in and started creating content for Cardano. But at that time, there was just a lot of questions around their actual testnet and their mainnet launch, given the fact that it wasn't necessarily intuitive. And since then, it just kind of been a really quiet project. So to now have this be the latest announcement, at least that brings them back into the spotlight, I personally don't think is a great thing. However, I did want to report on this here. So if you guys do hold any of the ADAX tokens, this would probably be a time for you to start reconsidering what you guys want to do. Obviously, I'm not in the position to tell you guys what to do, but I do at least want to bring this to your attention to at least spread the word and raise awareness of what could potentially be coming down the pipes. That is going to do it for today's video. So we've talked about DJED and the official launch of DJED and SHEN on chain. We talked about WingRiders, their Stableswap process, which has now been audited and is now going to be getting ready for mainnet launch, as well as the AnetaBTC platform launching on the Ergo testnet and hopefully launching on the Cardano testnet coming soon. And then in closing, we talked about the VyFi BAR updates and a little bit of the ADAX drama, which has just unfolded earlier today. Again, you guys, if you guys found this to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you guys could tap that like button. It does go a long way towards getting this to other members within the Cardano ecosystem. If it's your first time stumbling by, consider subscribing. And if you have any questions for myself, you guys can go ahead and leave a comment down below. And as I mentioned before, if you guys want to assist the channel, then consider staking with the DApp Central Stake Pool. Having said that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you guys in the next video.